Good afternoon. Are you all awake? You ready to rock and roll? We're going to hear from the smartest guy in government coming up right behind, right after I get a chance to say just a few words about wind. I really appreciate you having me here today. You know, I want to echo what Dave said yesterday when you opened the conference, that we need to call on Congress to pass comprehensive energy and climate legislation this year. Because this conference is all about creating new jobs, and the wind industry is a proud, growing sector that can support hundreds of thousands of jobs with the right policy in place. You know, in 2004, there were only a few dozen wind manufacturing facilities in the U.S., and now we have over 200 such facilities online in the U.S., employing over 85,000 people. We did a recent poll that was looking at, you know, what folks think in general about wind, and one of the things I think was most telling was that 89% of Americans believe that the amount of energy America gets from wind is a good idea, and a large majority of those folks believe Congress has not done enough to promote renewables. And let me tell you, the reason that, or the result of that policy is that wind workers are once again the victims of a no long-term policy. In the past decade, the Renewable Energy Production Credit, the main federal policy, the only federal policy support for wind, was allowed to expire 3 times, each time resulting in a 73% to 90% drop in installations in the subsequent years with equivalent job losses. We now have those 85,000 Americans manufacturing all sorts of 8,000 component parts. And let me tell you, all of those people are doing so without federal government showing support for a stable wind industry. It's like Lucy pulling the football out from under Charlie Brown. Companies who've invested in manufacturing here in America are being pulled in other directions by long-term commitments everywhere else around the globe. 36 other countries have binding renewable targets in place, including China, India, and all the European Union countries. We need to prove to those manufacturers who've been willing to make investments, take the chance on the American economy. We need to prove to them they made the right decision and draw more and expand companies here to set up shop and employ our federal citizens. We know they want to come here to take advantage of our extraordinary wind resource. As I said, over 100 facilities have been opened, expanded, or announced just since 2007. One more downturn for this industry could put an end, though, to those bright hopes and those good American jobs. So Dave Foster was exactly right to say that the U.S. urgently needs to pass energy and climate legislation, that a strong renewable electricity standard, as well as other legislation that grows manufacturing jobs in the U.S., needs to be passed, and it needs to be passed right now. So I'm here representing an industry that wants to be a partner, has been a partner with both the environmental community and with the labor community and the workers of America, and we're again here to make that kind of commitment going forward. We're gonna get this job done, and we're gonna get it done not because it's just the right thing to do for America, but because in America we want to build a long-term sustainable industry and energy sector, and we want to create a new path forward with long-term sustainable jobs. I'd like to now turn to introducing, as I said, and I probably shouldn't say that he's the smartest man in government, because the president may take umbrage at that. But anyway, it is really, for those of us in the energy sector, it really is an honor to introduce Steven Chu, the Secretary of the Department of Energy. Secretary Chu is responsible for helping to implement President Obama's ambitious renewable energy agenda. He is a distinguished scientist and co-winner of the Nobel Prize for Physics. Before moving here to Washington, he served as director of the Department of Energy's Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. On behalf of the wind industry, I'm appreciative of the Secretary's support of wind power research, development, and deployment through the DOE Wind Program. We also appreciate the department's work with the Department of Treasury to review all those applications for manufacturing tax credit programs created by the Recovery Act that have helped keep those folks employed. We have over 50 wind facilities in at least 20 states that received grants from that program, and it's making all the difference in moving those facilities forward and employing even more Americans in the wind industry. We look forward to continuing to work with you and in advance to advance wind power and to create high-quality jobs in the renewable energy sector. And again, it is my very great honor to welcome Secretary Chu to the stage.